What Stu and his company are doing is something that, in my 10-year career, is something we've always dreamed of contributing to. And it's really a agentic enterprise.
It is essentially an AI-moderated marketing research company that provides surveys, but through voice. You send a link to someone, they have a friendly chat with an AI called Emma, and it immediately comes back with actionable insights.
You were gung-ho on Dreamforce. Why?
Because this time around we said this needs to scale. This is not just agent first, but agent only company.
The human in the loop to actually educate, inform, expand the agent, I think that's very forward-looking of where we're headed. I know that the team has loved the opportunity to work with the Reading Minds group on this, because it's not only fueling a business, but it's fueling more of a framework and a way of doing business. Welcome, everybody. Appreciate you joining in. I'm pretty excited about today's session. So a little bit of a nerdo for a second. What Stu and his company are doing is something that, in my 10-year career, is something we've always dreamed of contributing to. And it's really a agentic enterprise. And so being with Stu here today, we're going to do a bit of a fireside chat about what Stu and his team at Reading Minds are doing within the concept of an agentic enterprise. So just quick introductions. My name is Dave Peterson. I'm from the NeuraFlash side. We've been working with Stu and his team at Reading Minds for the last 4 months now, helping them build from the ground up their business and their operations side. Stu, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Yeah, I build companies. This is startup number 6. The last company was called KnowBe4. We took that public, and as a CMO for a long time, I needed something that wasn't there, so I decided to build it.
I love it. So maybe you can give us a little bit of background on Reading Minds as a company and a product perspective and what you're bringing to market.
It is essentially an AI-moderated marketing research company that provides surveys, but through voice. So you send a link to someone, they have a friendly chat with an AI called Emma, who is asking the questions that you need to, and now there's many different use cases to get answered. And it immediately comes back with actionable insights.
It's beautiful. Now, that's the product, but on the operations, on the sales side, I know you were, very gung-ho on Dreamforce.
Yes.
Why?
Because this time around we said this needs to scale. And we want to scale to tens of millions fast. So agent only. This is not just agent first, but agent only company. More about that later.
So I do want to introduce you to the Reading Minds team. So you'll notice that there's a few names up here, but these are all agents. So bringing up the front of the pipeline is Bradley, our BDR and our sales AI. With all the quirks of a salesperson, right? The tenacity of a salesperson, but just in agentic form. We've got Emma, who Stu already covered, who actually does the demos. So think of it a bit as your solution engineer, as well as is the product itself, right? Providing the interviews and doing the market research. Now, Alex, tried and true, is our account manager. So Alex does handle customer service, but also actually handles renewals as well, right? Not only providing service, but then providing that movement towards better adoption, less churn, higher renewal rates. So it's a pretty impressive team, but wanted to give you a little bit more detail under the cover from end to end. And I think the only way to do that is to bring it way back. No fancy flow charts here, just good old-fashioned whiteboards.
Old school. Way old school. We're going left to right.
Yeah.
We're starting with Zoom info. That's intent. Goes to leads, feeds into Salesforce, Sales Cloud, Marketing Cloud, DC, the data up there. That essentially gets you to a qualified lead that goes to the AI Bradley you just saw, which sends the prospect to Emma. Emma is a live test drive, which essentially is a 5-minute interview, which is the arrow down. That, by the way, is AWS Nova Sonic. It's an emotionally intelligent model. Once the live test drive is done, it goes to a freemium and a sale. Bradley closes. Bradley closes to Salesforce closed one. Then it goes to Alex, handoff, who does customer service, onboarding, renewals. And you can see this green area up there. That is the human queue. Because if Bradley or Alex gets stumped, they create a ticket that goes into the human queue. These agents will say, I don't know, I have to ask my human. That goes into the human queue. We have created a whole new job title function, which is the HLR, the human loop representative. We've hired our first, I think the first in the world, HLR, who handles tickets through Slack. And so we don't talk to the end user. The HLR talks to the agent answers back to the customer. Hence, we train the agent. Back to you.
Yeah. And I think that is actually one of the this whole thing is very interesting, by the way, I will say. But the human in the loop and the way that it's being brought in to actually educate, inform, expand the agent without the human necessarily taking over, I think that's very forward-looking of where we're headed in an agentic enterprise. It's not something that we're seeing be done across the ecosystem, but we usually see the handoff, right? We usually see the agent come in, handle, oh, that's too complex for me. Let me just send you to a human versus let me realize that I missed something. I don't have the knowledge for it. Let me get that knowledge and I'll get back to you in a second, right?
Yeah. This is a relatively low cost, high volume transactional flow, as in maybe $1,000 a month. It goes on the credit card. And so this is why we feel we can do this. This is admittedly pushing the envelope way out, but we expect this to work.
Yes. And it's been amazing working with your team, figuring out, iterating on what this looks like and how this actually is brought to market. So I want to give you a little bit of a look behind the scenes of both the product, Emma, as well as some of the interactions that we're seeing with our agents, Bradley and Alex. So we're going to attempt to get some audio going here.
Hi, I'm Emma, an AI assistant here to chat with you about your experience at the Reading Minds session at Dreamforce. Your feedback is really valuable to us. Let's get started, shall we?
Sounds great.
Awesome. Let's dive right in. How engaged did you feel during the Reading Minds session? Were there any specific moments that stood out to you as particularly engaging or not?
Yeah, I was pretty engaged. It was awesome getting to see the live Emma demo as well, and Stu explaining the whole Resonant Labs and Reading Minds concept is pretty remarkable.
That's fantastic to hear. The live demo and the explanation of Resonant Labs and the Reading.
And I'm going to skip ahead a little bit here, but you can see what Emma is doing, having that live conversation, collecting feedback, right? And that is the product that Stu and his team are bringing to market, right? Also, you'll notice how quick it was, how friendly it was, how real life it sounded, right? We're really living in a bit of a future world right now. Now, Stu, what are we looking at here from maybe the outputs of that?
Right. If you look at the left side, you design your study, as in the interview. Then you get distribution. You get a link that you basically send to your customers or your prospects. Third are the interviews. You see those interviews come in. And then the actually the page you see is insights.
Mm.
And that is when you have 50 or 500 or 5,000 interviews done. It overnight does the analysis, and you see an overview, you get themes, you get sentiment analysis, you get quotes, you get instant feedback and actionable insights, which normally takes weeks. This now takes hours.
So just fun side story. As soon as Stu showed me the demo of this, I said, can I have access, please? Because we wanted to use this at our own company to try to get feedback internally on how our trainings are going in the agentic world. So very useful product. Also, the ability for this to be placed on top of an agentic enterprise, it's almost a match made in heaven.
Yeah, you can integrate this in your own stack in many different ways.
Maybe going more to the operation side now. This is where we're seeing the, let's call it Agentforce proper. What we saw before was built on AWS Novasonic. Here is where we're now seeing the sales side, the operations side. And so we talked about how Bradley might interact with a fresh new lead. And I think you might notice a little bit of a difference in tone than you might have seen with other agentic demos before. And so what we can see here is the first interaction with Bradley on the Reading Minds site. Now, we're looking at this across multiple channels, right? I'm showing you this in the nice web chat, but as you look at this from SMS, in voice, etc., this is where you're going to see kind of that one agent that can handle all the channels. Now, I don't know about you, but I haven't seen agents provide as much personality as what we see here with Bradley, which you want when you're trying to close a deal, right? But what I want to call out is that Bradley has gone to his sales training, and he is always trying to close, always trying to get to a demo. And so you'll see references as these conversations go, right? Identifying pain points, understanding where the value is, then actually driving to what a test demo of the product will look like. And the thing that I think is really interesting is there's no scheduling, right?
No, this is live. It's called the live test drive, which really allows Bradley to say, you want to see this now? Okay, well, click this link. And Emma kicks in and you get your interview right there.
Yeah. But then there's the scenarios where, okay, great, they're in the demo link, but they didn't finish it, right? So that's a lead, that's an opportunity, and we know Bradley doesn't leave opportunities and leads not followed up on. So what can happen in those scenarios is Bradley will reach out, right? We're hitting the multi-channel. Email's great for reaching out later, saying, hey, I saw that you didn't quite finish the demo. Are you sure you don't want to finish the demo? Here's a link again, proving some value points, right? It's pretty amazing to have sales folks following up on all of their tasks, right? And all of their leads. Yeah, I know it's a challenge, but Bradley's up to the task. So there's some other scenarios too we can see with Bradley, and we kind of mentioned this before, the human in the loop style, right? Where we might have a more like complex, right? Complex sales question about pricing, about quoting that we haven't covered yet, right? So a lot of what we're going to see from this is the ability to, let's call it, escalate. We're still calling it escalate, but remember, we're not doing it quite the same way that it's been done in the historical sense, right? And
That's right, because the agent creates a ticket.
Yeah. And so we can just see how that conversation goes, very similarly to what Bradley did before, follows up on that once he has the answer to those questions.
Yeah.
But again, very similar.
The ticket goes to a human in the loop, but the human goes back to the agent and says, here's how this works.
Yep.
Knowledge article, FAQ, and that goes back to the customer.
Yes. And honestly, it's a very similar experience to what would happen in real life, right? You call a salesperson and says, well, I'll come back to you. I'll get that quote for you. I got to go figure out how to do this. Mm-hmm. They might not reveal about that part though. Now, this is one that I love to see, is the fact that we are actually bringing the agentic enterprise in place, where we don't just have one super agent that tries to fill every role, right? We have very distinct concepts of who is who and
Mhm.
what they do.
Yep.
And so we can see how Bradley and our good friend over in customer service and account management, Alex, could interact together. And actually how seamless this is, right? It's just like you're tagging in your teammate to actually handle this conversation for you. So we can see Bradley actually leaving the conversation and say, I'm going to kick you over to Alex, who's then going to actually help you with the support. And I think a big thing there from at least our side is around being able to then focus in on what matters for Bradley and what matters for Alex, right? We don't want to make this big, bloating, gigantic do-it-all.
Right. And the living in the 360 environment in Salesforce with memory means that Alex knows what Bradley has been up to.
Yes.
Alex knows that this was a closed one for $950 a month and knows it needs to be onboarded. First time to value needs to be quick. And so that's where Alex kicks in and takes it from there.
Perfect. Yeah. And I think that really interesting there is the memory. What's happened, what emails are being sent by Bradley that Alex should know about, right? There's some great frameworks from Salesforce that they've published around learning loops and how we can actually bring that into the conversation so that we're not getting these disjointed interactions, right? It's all one thread. It's as if your team is sharing everything instantly. And so it's extremely valuable when you look at this, because I think we're in a space right now still where these agents are very isolated and, solo. They're rolling solo. They get some data. But I think what you've done here at Reading Minds is really capitalize on what's available to you and plugging into the data that's being created.
Absolutely. We were in the very fortunate position to start from scratch
Yes.
with an ideal scenario, how it should work. So that's what we're building.
Yeah.
It's very exciting.
As I mentioned, it's one of those projects you wait for sometimes your whole career to get the chance to work with. And I know that the team has loved the opportunity to work with the Reading Minds group on this. And I did want to, let you do a little bit of a shout out, because it's not only fueling a business, but it's fueling more of a framework and a way of doing business.
I would agree. There's two shout outs at the end. First, get on the beta waitlist. Just go to readingminds.ai, get on the beta waitlist. If you refer someone, you move up on the beta waitlist. You get the beta earlier. That's one. Second, agent-powered growth. It will be released second week of January. At the same time, we hope to go in general availability. This book describes what we are building and explains the whole process to build this in an enterprise environment. This is not just someone on a Sunday afternoon vibe coding stuff. This scales to 100 million users. It's a whole different kettle of fish. And then you have a few call outs.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I do have, I have pre-ordered it as well. So I'm looking forward to reading it as well.
It's a real paper book, man.
It's a real paper book.
Yeah.
I love it. We'll see how we can get that downloaded into the brain, eventually in the future. But definitely check that book out. You said it was 2 weeks from now.
You can order now.
Order now.
But the book will be sent to you second week in January.
Perfect.
Go with them.
We appreciate that, Stu. We really do. So that's our presentation. Again, we'll be over at the booth if you have more questions. But thank you all for coming, and have a good rest of your Dreamforce.
Yep. Thank you very much.